Silence is the honest voice, Jimin's message that thrilled Jungkook. In a world filled with noise, spotlight, and frenzied glitter popularity, sometimes the most touching comes precisely from something inaudible. That's exactly what happened when Jimin delivered a shocking message at the end of BTS's latest documentary interview, a simple yet jarring sentence: "Silence is an honest voice." The moment came unexpectedly. The camera captured only the silhouette of Jimin in an empty rehearsal room, sitting alone in a shabby hoodie, hands clutching a half-empty water bottle and a face filled with thoughts. No music, no conversation, just silence. Then Jimin looked at the camera and said in a quiet voice, "Sometimes I feel like I don't need to explain everything, because even silence speaks. The silence is honest. And when we trust each other, even silence can convey everything." The message, recorded as part of the documentary project BTS, Between the Notes, instantly in the spotlight, especially since the one person who looks most affected afterwards is Jungkook. The camera then shows Jungkook watching the footage with the staff, then remaining silent for a while. He lowered his head, took a deep breath, then smiled a little with teary eyes. "You always know how to touch my heart, even without saying anything," said Jungkook softly. Fans who watched the episode in unison immediately flooded social media. Many soldiers said Jimin's message felt like a hug in the midst of chaos, a simple sentence, but so deep in meaning. A fan from Argentina wrote, "We live in a world full of noise, pressure, and demands. But Jimin reminds us that sometimes it's okay to be silent, to feel, to just be present." From Jungkook's side, the effect of the message was even more visible. In a live broadcast a few days later, he mentioned that the sentence kept ringing in his mind. "I always feel like I have to prove something, always have to run faster." But Jimin Hyung's words made me stop for a second and realize that even in silence, there is love. The fans who have been following Jimin and Jungkook's relationship for a long time, both as best friends, co-workers, as well as two souls who grew up together under the pressure of the entertainment world, see this moment as the most honest point of their closeness. No need for hugs on stage or elaborate choreography. Simply with one sentence and one sincere reaction, they show that the depth of human relationships can go beyond words. Silence is an honest voice. That sentence is now embedded not only in Jungkook's heart, but also in millions of ARMY hearts around the world. Behind all the songs, performances, and cheers, Jimin shows that sometimes, in the deepest silence, we find the purest truth. After the documentary episode aired, something invisible to the eye but felt in the heart began to envelop the ARMY community. Silence became a new symbol. It is no longer something scary or empty, but rather a space to understand, heal, and love in silence. Fans began to share personal stories about the times when they were speechless, when the world was too noisy, and when only silence becomes their true friend. On platforms like Weverse and X, Twitter, fans started sharing photos of Jimin and Jungkook in moments of silence, sit side by side backstage, walk without talking at the airport, or stare at each other wordlessly in old vlog footage. Shortly after, Jungkook shared something surprising on his Instagram. A simple photo. Night view from the balcony. Dark sky with one bright star in the center. The caption is just one word: silence. Within an hour, more than 10 million people liked the photo. In the comments, ARMYs from different countries wrote thanks, not because the photo was stunning, but because they felt understood, in a way that can't be explained by anyone except by those who truly understand loneliness. A few days later, in a short live on Weverse, Jimin explained the meaning of the lines he said in the documentary. With a soft tone and a serious face, he said, "I've been to a point where I feel like everything I say isn't enough. And sometimes, talking too much can only lead us further away from the truth. But there was one person who always understood even when I didn't say anything. That's Jungkook." A small smile appeared on his face. Then he added, "Maybe that's why I call the silence honest. Because with him, I don't have to explain everything. He already knows." The army is crying. No fan service. No drama. Just two people growing up together, knowing each other deep down, and now share that deepest part with the world honestly, without a doubt. Jungkook then responded through his own live that night. With a black hoodie and an acoustic guitar on his lap, he said, "I think, in the most meaningful relationships, you don't always have to talk. You just have to show up." And Jimin was always there, even when I couldn't say anything. Then he sang pieces of a song he had never heard before, a quiet melody, almost like a whisper. The lyrics are soft, and the chorus is just one line. "Even in silence, I still hear you." The fans immediately went crazy. They know, even if the song isn't finished, hasn't been released, hasn't even been given a title, that's an answer. A confession that does not sound loud, but that resonates in the heart of anyone who has ever felt a love so deep that it does not need to be said. A few days after that moment echoed in the hearts of millions of fans, the world seemed to slow down. The army began to find beauty in the pause, in silence. In the silent moments, which now feel much more meaningful after Jimin and Jungkook showed how honest the silence was. Not as an escape from the crowd, but as an invisible hug, which, on the contrary, feels the deepest. In an exclusive interview with ELE Korea magazine, Jimin finally shared the story behind the sentence. He doesn't talk about music, concert schedules, or achievements. He's talking about humans, about him, about Jungkook. "There are times when I want to talk, but my mouth doesn't move. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because my heart knew. The person who was supposed to hear me already understood." No sound, without explanation. Jimin then smiled a little and continued, "And that person is Jungkook." The statement made headlines in various media, but not because of sensationalism, but because of sincerity. Fans, observers, and even journalists admit, not many artists dare to show their most vulnerable sides like this. Jimin didn't just talk about silence, he became that silence. And Jungkook heard it with his whole being. The following night, Weverse witnesses yet another emotional shock. Jimin and Jungkook performed together in a short live session. No studio lights, no background music. Just the two of them, sitting side by side on a small sofa with a cup of tea and a microphone. Jungkook opened the broadcast with a shy smile. "We're not going to talk much tonight." Jimin laughed a little, then chimed in, "Because tonight, our silence will speak for us." For a few minutes, they just sat, staring at the camera, occasionally smiling, reading out comments from the army in his heart. No long talk, no gimmicks. But the comment room was full of tears. "Thank you for being present even without words. Your silence is a song for us. You speak with your eyes, and we hear with our hearts." Those minutes became eternal memories. It's like a serenade without music, a hug without a touch, a message that is not written, but understood together. In a world that requires us to always speak, explain, answer, and perform, Jimin and Jungkook gave us the greatest gift of all, the space to be silent, space to feel, to be present, to be honest. They showed the world that silence is not defeat. Silence is courage, is maturity, is the purest form of love that doesn't need a stage, doesn't need applause, doesn't need validation, and perhaps, when we are all tired of looking for words to explain everything, it is the silence that will remain. Whisper the truth that cannot be lied, and bind the most sincere heart. Silence is an honest voice. The world loves sound. But sometimes, the most precious sound comes from silence. And that night, Jimin and Jungkook remind everyone that in silence, there is a reality that cannot be lied to. That behind the silence of a person can be hidden immeasurable love. Now, silence is no longer emptiness. It has turned into a bridge between two hearts that know each other unconditionally. A bridge between BTS and ARMY that understands each other even when not a single word is said. Thank you, Jimin, for the words that came from the silent. Thank you, Jungkook, for hearing it not with your ears, but with your heart, because sometimes Silence is the only way to really listen. In silence, they found truth. And in that truth, we found them, and Jungkook, he didn't just hear it. He felt it.